the go-to guy in my life for anything relating to networking. Michael is a frequent speaker in front of groups. He's trained thousands of people in the financial services sector. He's written a number of best-selling books. Michael, your most recent book just came out, as I recall.
It did. It's been out for about 2 weeks now. It's Knockout Networking for Financial Advisors and Other Sales Producers.
All right, so
I would say it's in a bookstore near you, but the bookstores are closed. So when Barnes and Nobles finally gets around to opening up, it'll be there.
Well, I'm sure it's a great book. I read your first book, which I learned a lot from, and I think anybody who is in the financial services sector would benefit from picking up anything you've ever written. So I'm going to buy the book when it comes out. I'm assuming you can buy it on major online emporia like
yes,
Amazon.
you can go to the Amazon, yes, and you can get it, yes.
All right. So here's a question that I am very interested in, because even though it's been around for a long time, a lot of bankers, even though they have been on LinkedIn forever, they have profiles, some of them have lots of connections, don't really use it strategically as a way to build their networks. And I'd be interested in what you see the best of the best doing when it comes to using LinkedIn to both increase their network, but also to fortify their network.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. You know, it's funny, social media seems to be like this big mystery. Like, we know that there's a lot of people on there, right? And in LinkedIn's case, it's something like 180 million or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that we connect with a lot of people. We know that we can create a lot of visibility, but the mystery kind of behind the curtain is, how do we monetize this? Mm-hmm. Right? How do we create a system around this? And so you have lots of LinkedIn trainers and experts that, that measure this, and and at the end of the day, it's really just a big litmus test. It's really a lot of trial and error. And a lot of the trial and error has to do with how you communicate, your frequency of communicating, what your business is, what your profile looks like. I try to simplify all this stuff. I think there's 3 approaches to LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. Three approaches. So call it my 1, 2, 3 punch to LinkedIn.
All right, so this is knockout networking. I
just made that up, by the way.
In the background, we got the fight team.
I just made that up. Yeah.
Okay. So give us the 1, 2, 3 punches of LinkedIn.
I'm just making this up as I go along. No, so there's so there's actually 3, right? And they're all important, right? And the thing is that most people don't do all of them. Mm-hmm. So the first is posting, right? Mm-hmm. First thing is posting. My belief is you should probably post every day, not every minute of every day, but every day you should probably have a post, right? As a compliance office would allow you to. It should not be a self-serving post. It should be a valuable post. It should be a post that helps people, or it could be something that's just interesting, like a quote, right? Or something like that. So it should be something that is interesting, poignant, relevant, and valuable if you can do that, right? So I think that should happen every business day, probably in the morning. There are some that might say every other day, and that's fine, but it's not at all day every day, right? So posting is part of it. You've got to be a presence there. Thought leader, I think, is overused, but at least some sort of authoritative figure based on what it is that you do. Let's call that a banker, right? So posting is the first thing. The second thing is I'll call connecting. Posting, connecting. Connecting is a proactive approach to reaching out to people, right? Where you're maybe direct messaging them. So you can connect with people that you don't know, or reconnect with people that you know or know of. Mm-hmm. And that's very proactive. That's sending a direct message that might say, hello, Ned. Hope all is well. It has been forever. Let's reconnect. My Zoom or yours. Mm-hmm. Love and kisses, right? Warmest regards, keep the left up, right? So imagine doing that 5 times a day, like 5 notes like that a day to people that are in your orbit that are important to you. That's, I mean, think about it, costs nothing. So posting, connecting, and the third component I'm going to call relating. Mm-hmm. Relating is liking posts that resonate. It's commenting, making specific comments, and tagging specific people. And that's relating is relationship. It's relating to people so you can cultivate a relationship. So imagine devoting 15 or 20 minutes a day, I don't think it should be any more than that, every morning, and I actually have it drawn up in a daily fight plan. Like I do this stuff every day, and I have a social media component to this. And that's what I do is what should my posts be and why should my post be that? Who am I meeting? Like what are the 5 to 10 messages that I'm putting out and to whom and why? And the third is who am I relating to? Like what's going on? Who am I relating to and why? That's the 1, 2, 3 punch. Can you imagine if you do that Monday through Friday, 15 to 20 minutes a day, and it's focused and you have purpose to it, right? You're going to get more connections. You're going to have more Zoom meetings. You're going to collaborate with more people. You're going to be more networked. And I'm telling you that business will come out of that.
But a couple of great things. One, in practicing what you preach, you do have a daily plan.
I do.
And it's built around some very specific things, the 3 things you talked about, which are, again, great things to keep in mind for people. The idea of posting, connecting, and relating. Those are 3 good concepts. And the third thing that you talked about is, again, this is about being proactive. If you think about what you can and cannot control in today's crazy COVID world, one of the things you can control is how you prioritize certain activities. And this has got to be right at the top, I'm guessing, of your daily fight plan.
It's right at the top. And I have to, let me just say this, and I want to emphasize this. This is not my favorite thing in the world to do. Like, I don't really like being on LinkedIn and social media. I'm not a big Facebook guy. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be. It's just not my thing. I just see the value in LinkedIn from a business standpoint. Not my favorite thing, but it's something that's necessary right now to be relevant and to also be targeted, because it's just such a great way to scale our time and scale our connections, especially in industries that aren't really known for this, like banking. Like, I can go to my connections and reach out to bankers, and very few of them are on LinkedIn or active on LinkedIn, which means I think that there's an opportunity there. So if you're a banker that creates a process and you're very intentional and deliberate about being a source on LinkedIn and being able to cultivate the right types of connections there, that's really powerful, and that's going to separate you. That's going to be a very distinctive trait.
Yeah, I would second that. I think part of what every banker who's trying to stand out has to figure out is how to leverage these tools, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Zoom. But it comes back to, again, these words you keep highlighting. You've got to be intentional. You've got to be proactive. You've got to build a cadence around these activities. You may not like them, but this is part of the daily dose. A lot of fighters don't like to train. They don't like to jump rope. They don't like to run, but they have to. Yeah,
you got to do that. And they do it every day. Like, they actually have a fight plan. So I work in 90-day cycles, right? To me, everything's a 90-day plan. And that's actually a boxer's cycle. It's usually an 8 to 12-week training plan to get ready for that fight with Mike Tyson, or whomever it is, right? They have a very definitive plan where they know what they're doing, getting their road work in, they're jumping, they're sparring every single day. I make sure my road work is in every single day. I get my work in because there's some place, and it's right on my plan, 90 days. I know exactly where I want to be in 90 days, but LinkedIn is a part of that.
Great. Well, Michael always signs off with, keep your left up.
Yep, or if you're a lefty, keep the right up.
All right up. Thanks very much.